these days I'll get used to it and then you'll change it up on me. Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to our live. We have got some really exciting things to talk about today. Just a little hint, it's gonna be in this area. So let's go ahead and get started.
Woo, I'm feeling it this morning, you guys. We are going to be answering questions this whole live show. How do you get through a day? To me, it smells like a very light kind of pine scent. So if you've been wanting to get one of these drop shop items, we are just going to have lots of fun. Who is ready for some life hacks? We have all of this fun stuff to give away. It's colorful, cozy. Really, we just like to get to know our customers. Never look a horse in the Cheez-It.
I know, the advice that just keeps on giving. Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome to the show. We have some really fun things, like I said, to talk about, and they all have to do with distillation, so I'm really excited for today. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and see who's joining. We have Pete. Hi, Pete, who says hi from Sacramento. Christine, who says hello from upstate New York. Anna says hello. Is that Emily? It is Emily. Hi, Anna. We've got Kathy, who says good evening from South Dakota. Sherry says hello from beautiful Long Island, New York. Anna says hello, my lovely petal girls. I love that. It's so cute. Jenny says hello from Michigan. Oh, and Tracy says hi from Paw Paw, Michigan, which sounds like a really cool place. I don't know.
Hilarious. There's actually a Paw Paw, Illinois.
Is there?
And my husband's uncle lives there.
She did say Michigan, right?
No.
Who is joining us on Instagram?
Genobebs. I don't think I said that right, but it's fine. Happy Thursday morning from Singapore. It's her birthday tomorrow.
Oh, happy birthday.
Birthday. Let's sing. Happy birthday to you.
It's not today, Danny.
Happy birthday. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Ngrig1. I also pronounced that wrong. Greetings from South Florida.
Oh.
I'm not even going to try to say that one. Sarah, hello from Canada.
Hello.
Nellie Bart says she has a tarantula. That is something I cannot do.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I'm not about it.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. PT Fan 007, Ola from Wisconsin.
I love the name. Doesn't get much
Rachel
better
Wing
than
says,
that.
hi, Emily.
Hi.
And then they stop.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad to hear from you guys. And I really do not envy Alexa in her position of having to read Instagram names.
And then I say all of them wrong and then I feel bad. And I'm like, guys, I'm sorry, I tried.
I know, we really do try, you guys. But I mean, I kind of mess up on normal names, so at least you've got an excuse. So there's that.
Caitlin's really good at names.
Yeah.
Are you?
Slove Red.
Oh.
Yep.
I love it. Alrighty. Well, before we get started on distillation and learning a little bit more about steam distillation, I wanted to do PT Friends.
Okay, we got an intro song.
Okay, good.
We love our friends, our PT friends. They're the friendliest of friends.
I want to do like a hill kick, but I am... Yeah, I can't really jump that high anymore, you guys. It's sad. And I'm just nervous because I know this thing is coming my way.
Oh, I forgot.
So.
Don't pull it through the hole. Pull it straight out.
Okay.
We had like a blooper moment before the show where it just like came crashing down, and now I'm a little scared. Yay! That was so much nicer, Danny. Very good.
You guys can't really see it, so this is kind of a dud.
Is there something else in there, or do I leave that in?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just to make it. That's just to make it hard.
It's fine. Well, let me see here. Okay. I forgot the password.
42.
1542. All right. Okay. So our PT friend today is Michelle Doyle. She says, our puppy Luna Bear, oh my gosh, that's so cute, is excelling at her Stay Home, Stay Safe digital learning program. In addition to mastering patience and willpower, she also has a solo of Row, Row, Row Your Boat in choir. Oh my gosh, I'm slacking as a dog parent right now. She is mastering English as a second language, despite her instructor's frustration in learning the canine native tongue. She alerts us before the scheduled alerts on our devices, which is helpful with a case of 2020 stress brain. We are apparently very forgetful without her constant reminder, nudges, and loving licks, especially with regards to bedtime lullabies and cookies.
I wish
Totally
my kids would
understand
do that.
I-
Loving licks.
I don't.
And get me to bed.
Remy does lick, and it's not ideal. he likes to pretend to be a dog, and he'll lick us. So, yeah.
Except for their cats.
Oh, okay. There we go. Her favorite thing is mail because there is the possibility of not only getting a treat in a package, but also the hope of the plant therapy envelopes, which are like adventure novels for her nose. Her power sniffer reads the travels through the mail and all the interesting smells of other people and products that are invisibly packed along with the human treats in the special green packages. She is very grateful for plant therapy helping her humans with the magic of botanicals and the integrity and kindness of PTCS, which always leaves her mom believing in people being good, maybe not as good as dogs, but human good. Oh, that was like the best. I love that. Well, Michelle, oh, sorry, we went black. Thank you so much for sending in a picture of your Luna Bear and for sharing a little bit about her. I definitely feel like I'm slacking on the dog mom thing. My dog knows how to sit, but he doesn't always listen, so there's that. He tests me. I don't really know if he knows how to sit. It's hit and miss 50-50. So,
And we did take some liberty and cut out some of the stuff that I can't remember who sent it in. Who sent it in? Michelle. Mm-hmm. And so forgive us, but because we don't have very good vision, I put as much as I could on the teleprompter.
Thank you, Danny.
She had a lot of really funny stuff in it. So
I can't see that well, so I appreciate that, Danny. But yeah, so thank you so much for sending that in, and definitely email. Do we just send? How does this work now that they email us?
well, because they email us, Caitlin.
Do we just magically send them stuff?
No, they just email us and then we'll add a $15 account credit. They just have to let us know if
yes,
they're the PT
15.
Friends
I will
winner.
get this down, you guys, someday. So, email us, and we will put a $15 credit on your account.
So Caitlin, should they email PT Friends?
No.
CS at Plant Therapy. Okay, so just to make sure I understand, you guys email CS at Plant Therapy if you won today. So Michelle is going to email CS, let them know you won. We'll give you $15 credit. If you would like to participate in PT Friends, send your email to ptfriends@planttherapy.com, and we will talk about you on our
We
show.
will talk about you. Saffron Elizabeth says, my dog Kevin, which I love, just got his paw balm today for our tough winters, and that makes me so excited because that was one of my first ever non-blend products that I made. So I hope you love it, and definitely tell CS so they can tell me if you do love it, because I want to know. All righty. Well, today, as you guys can see, we're going to be talking a little bit about steam distillation. And what I wanted to do when I found out we were talking about distillation was share a little bit about a distillation workshop that I did in 2018. So I've got some pictures that I will show with you or share with you guys. And I think Alexa's going to bring Instagram around so you guys can see it. So give me just 1 second.
This is pretty cool. I had never seen these until today.
And I took these pictures, Danny. Are you so
they're
impressed
pretty
with me?
brilliant.
I mean, they're not that great, but they're kind of cute. Except for the pictures of myself. I didn't take those, so cannot take credit for that.
Are we in frame, Danny?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Alrighty. So this is just a distillation workshop that I attended in Boulder, Utah, and I've entitled it From the Forest to the Bottle, and you'll see why shortly. So this is a distillation workshop that I attended that was very hands-on, and I have to tell you guys, this experience was really life-changing for me on so many levels. It was just such a beautiful experience, and I got to learn more about myself, more about distillation. Just in general, it was a very, very cool, unique experience. So here you can see we are actually up in a lower forest. So it's in southern Utah, so it's kind of out in the desert, but as you go higher in elevation, you get much more like heavier forested areas with tons of different plants. So here we are just going out and gathering plant material, and you can see we're processing it here and loading it into the truck to take back to the still. And then this is really neat. So this is an artisan distiller, so very different than like a commercial distiller or an industrial distiller. So it's all actually just outside of Eric, who was my instructor, his house. And here you can see we're preparing what is called the charge. It's the plant material. And then we're loading it into this piece of equipment, which is called the retard. A retard.
Never heard of that.
I know.
So it's just the chamber where...
You load the plant material.
Okay.
Yep.
And what kind of distillation is this process going to be?
So this is steam distillation.
Okay, so this is steam distillation.
Yes.
Okay.
And this, this is called the retard dance. So what you do is you want to pack the retard as tight as possible. So you load in plant material, then you jump on and do a little jig in order to get it as compressed as possible. I'm really glad that you couldn't see my little jig right there.
I know, I was about to, I just switched back to it and was hoping you could redo that.
You guys aren't seeing the jig, sorry. So you're compressing the plant material so that you can get as much plant material into the retard as possible. And then there's a lid that goes on and a seal that's placed to keep everything nice and tight. And then you use, Eric actually uses like old coats, things like that, to just insulate the retard to keep everything as insulated as possible as far as the heat goes. And then this I thought was really unique as far as Eric's distillation process is he, on top of the chamber, he'll leave like a stone, a glove that he used to actually harvest the plant material, and then a part of the charge. So you'll see there we've got some pinyon pine and some juniper, and there's, I think, sage is what we had there. So all part of that material that we'll be distilling, and it's just kind of that visualization. Ooh, wow, I really need to slow down. I had a lot of coffee today, you guys. Visualization of the co-creation, so working with man and nature to create this really beautiful essential oil. So as you can see here, this is after the process has been started, and what happens is this cooling chamber here. So let me step back a little bit. So once the retard is loaded, steam is then pushed through the retard, through the plant material, and it carries over into this condensing chamber here. And this condensing chamber is attached to a water source that helps to cool the steam, so that on the other end, what you have left over is the essential oil and the hydrosol. And that's what is being gathered here, is the EO and the hydrosol. Danny.
Quick question slash just something to, well, we're getting a lot of people saying, oh, isn't that dirty though? And so we're diffusing feet. Like Vicki was wondering if, so can you help them, or can you talk about that? This isn't actually a commercial distiller.
Yes, correct. So this is an artisan distiller, and really like the heat, the steam that is going through that product is going to kill off anything like that. But this is just, like I said, an artisan distiller. It's not a distiller that we use for our oils specifically. It's more just learning about the process and getting in touch with nature. It's kind of similar to like creating wine. I don't know if you've seen that process where people take their shoes off and they get in the wine buckets and they smash the grapes. It's that kind of process, whereas it's definitely not like the industrialized or the commercial distillation. And you'll see this produces a very, very small amount of essential oil. So here we have the decantation where we're decanting the essential oil from the hydrosol. So you can see in this picture here, this level is the actual essential oil, and then everything below it is the hydrosol. And so with all of that plant material, and you guys saw at the beginning like buckets and buckets and buckets of plant material, you can get anywhere from like 5 mils to 100 mils of essential oil, and that is it from this distillation project. Yeah, there's
She took that picture of herself.
I did. No, I did not. And then I just wanted to show a couple of pictures of some of the plants that we distilled. So this is Rocky Mountain juniper. This is common juniper. I was really interested to see the different types of juniper, which was really interesting, and all in the same area. And then we have white fir and Douglas fir. And interestingly enough, if you actually taste white fir needles, it tastes like bubble gum. What? Yeah. So very, very interesting, I thought. Very cool process. And that is the distillation workshop. But I just wanted to share that with you guys because you can see this was a 3-day workshop, and I took home a lot of hydrosol with me, but I took home a 5 ml bottle of essential oil, and that's it. After, going out and harvesting plant material myself, and well, with a group, obviously, but it's just a very time-consuming process, but it's really also just very neat to be a part of it and to experience it and to go out and collect your own material that you're distilling. Just really cool experience. So before I talk about these units that we have here, do we have any questions? Oh, Rosalind asks, why would they mix ingredients? And that is a great question. So this is called co-distillation. When you use more than one plant material within a distillation, it's called a co-distillation. And what's unique about it is you get some of the constituents from each plant. So you may use it instead of like blending an essential oil blend, you can do a co-distillation. And it's a little bit different than even blending your like 3 of the different essential oils, because the constituents that carry over through the distillation process are going to be a little bit different.
Do they interact with each other in a way that would, like, do you get a different constituent when you what did you call it?
Co-distill. Yeah. So it's the same constituents that you get from the individual plants, but you may have higher amounts, just depending, because a lot of the plants will share certain constituents. So you may get higher amounts than you would if you were just blending them together.
How long does the whole distillation process take?
That's a great question, and it really depends on the essential oil or the plant material that you're distilling. So what's really unique about this process is what you can do is we would load the retort and distill for a certain amount of time, and then we would unpack it, and what we would do is we would actually put more plant material on top of the material that had already been distilled. So you can continue that distillation process just depending on the material and how it withstands to heat. So that was really unique for me to learn that. And but really it comes down to the plant material. So if you're distilling something that's much more fragile, you're not going to distill as long as you would like a sandalwood or something along those lines.
And what do you do with the byproducts?
It really depends on the person, but a lot of the times like what Eric will do is use the plant material as compost. So that's a really great way to use it, or even like mulch in your garden to just protect from like weeds and bugs and all sorts of nasty things. And then the water that's left over is your hydrosol. So one thing that I was like totally blown away is Eric uses it in his laundry. So he has so much hydrosol that he uses it in his laundry. And I was like, man, I need to get myself a still so I can do that.
Doing your lawn clippings.
Yes, yeah. So just really, really cool, unique experience. Let's see. If I wanted to distill rose petals, when would I pick the roses? Then would they need to be dried? So that's a great question. And again, it comes down to what kind of roses you're distilling, and a little bit more details as far as that goes. But typically you would want to distill them at their peak season, and I wouldn't dry them. A lot of the time you see that rose is distilled fresh.
And there are different types of distillation. You would not want to steam distill rose, is that right?
Correct. Yeah, so that's a good question too. So there are different types of distillation methods. With rose specifically, the plant material is so fragile that steam distillation just isn't the ideal extraction method. So you'll see, for example, with our Rose Auto essential oil, it's hydrodistilled. And so what happens with that is you're actually placing plant material in water and you're boiling the plant material. So you're not using steam to push through the plant material, you're actually boiling the plant material. And depending on the type of method that you use, even with hydrodistillation, the steam will still transfer over. So this is one of, can they still see me over here, Danny? Oh yeah. Okay. Good. So this is this is a version of a still, and what happens is you would place the plant material within this chamber, and if you were hydrodistilling, you would put in a certain amount of water just based on whatever the instruction manual says. And what happens is the steam will still transfer through this chamber. This is the cooling condensing chamber for this model. So here you have like a water hookup that is inputting cool water through the chamber. And I think I can take this off. I know Danny showed me how, but let's see.
So this unit would produce probably 5 to 10 to maybe 30 mils of.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not much.
So, I
That's
lost
okay.
a seal. Okay, I'll get it later.
Yeah, we'll get it.
But water is, it goes through this chamber. You can see where the steam will then transfer through this, and it cools the steam so that on the other side, once you get it cooled, it comes out to here where the hydrosol and the essential oil are collected. And I don't remember why I got off on that tangent. Oh, hydrodistillation. So
Yeah, the difference.
You would use hydrodistillation for something that's a little bit more sensitive to the high heat of steam, or that could be destroyed using steam.
Just toss that over
put
to.
this down. Is that
yeah,
okay?
well, I
I'm
was going to
sorry,
say just toss it over to.
Catch, Caitlin.
To Allie.
The PowerPoint that you showed us, is that the same method that we use to make the woodland co-extraction oil?
No, that is a little bit different. That one I do not remember off the top of my head, but if you email cs@planttherapy.com, we can give you a little bit more information on that specific distillation process, because we have all of that, but it's a little bit different than what I showed you in the presentation.
Stephanie was asking, is it true that it takes 60 roses to make 1 drop of essential oil?
Yeah.
It is something very close to that.
Yes, it takes a massive amount of rose material in order to create rose essential oil. So it's quite an exceptional oil, and that's why you see that it's so expensive as well.
Can you tell us the difference between, I know of 4 different, we've got water, or hydrodistillation, which you kind of explained. We've got steam distillation, and maybe we'll have to show them the video or some of the pictures from when we went to the
mint farm.
The mint farm.
Yes.
That was really fun. Yeah. And then there's CO2, and then the last one's an absolute. Rose, we have a rose absolute.
Right.
What is an absolute, and why is that a good way to distill?
That's a good question. So, and on that, Randy asked, I thought roses were too fragile and needed to be done in an absolute. And that's why you'll see, this is hydro distillation specifically, which isn't quite as aggressive as steam distillation. So that's a method that can be used, but solvent extraction or the creation of an absolute is much more common. So with that, the plant material, typically rose petals in this case where we're talking about rose, is the plant material is macerated, and then you use a solvent. Most typically hexane is used for solvent extraction. So you place the plant material in the hexane, and then after a certain period of time, again, it depends on the plant material that you're using, the hexane is removed, and what you have left is called a concrete, and that is the plant material plus the waxes plus the essential oil, all of it that's left over from the extraction process. Then what happens is you add the concrete to something like alcohol, which then leaves a tincture and then like an oleo resin kind of byproduct that's left over. And then the alcohol is vacuumed off of the tincture, and you have what's left is the absolute. So that's very common with essential oils or plant material that's much too fragile to withstand steam distillation. And then CO2 extraction is a little bit different too. CO2, what happens with it, so CO2, once you reach a low enough temperature, actually becomes a liquid. And the liquid, once it's at that low temperature, is actually used as a solvent to extract the oil from the plant, in that case a CO2 extraction. And then once the plant material has been in the CO2 long enough, the temperature is increased, the gas is removed, and what you have left is a CO2 extract. And what's really cool about CO2 extracts is that you get a lot more of like the heavier constituents that you don't see in an essential oil. So it typically smells truer to the plant. It may have different therapeutic properties. Typically a little goes a long way, so you don't have to use it as much. So CO2 extraction, I think, is pretty neat. My favorite extraction method is steam distillation, and that's probably just because I have that like hands-on experience with it that I just absolutely loved. The other extraction method that you'll see is cold pressing, and that's very common with citruses. And what happens there is the citrus material will actually be filtered, and then it's like ground up, and it goes through a filtration method, and that happens because the essential oil is actually located in pockets that are located in the rind of the plant. So then after it's pressed, it's filtered, and you remove like the juice, the pulp, and you have essential oil as well.
Fun fact, we have a gal that works in the store here in Twin named Araceli, and her mother-in-law used to work in I can't remember if it was lemon or an orange grove,
Okay.
and picked oranges and lemons and stuff like that. Anyway,
That's so
she
awesome.
got, you would naturally get oil on your hand, and cold pressed citrus oils can be
Phototoxic.
phototoxic. So she had some good old dark marks on her hands from that.
Wow, that is so interesting. Let's see, are we getting any other questions?
Yeah, Vicky was wondering, what is an example of a fragile oil?
So that is typically oils that you'll see are produced through absolute or solvent extraction. So you'll see like rose is very, very common, jasmine. Typically a lot of your flower essential oils or essential oils that are much more expensive are going to be extracted through solvent extraction, making them an absolute. And I love, you guys are saying how much you love Delight, which also makes me very happy because that is one of my blends. Love you guys. Jeez, I need to come on here more often. Are there any other questions on Instagram?
I,
Okay,
I
perfect.
feel like you went really in depth and people were like, just thinking it was really interesting. They
Yeah,
really
there were a
liked
ton
it.
of people commenting and being like, wow, how does she know this much?
How does she remember all
I'm sorry if I went too fast too. I just get excited about.
yeah,
People
there
would
is-
ask
kinds
and
of
I'd be
things.
like, you know, I knew that, I did, but I don't remember it right now, so ask me later. Next.
I was really impressed. I didn't understand CO2. I didn't realize that the CO2 actually, so it's actually the opposite of steam. It's cold.
Yeah.
Like the CO2 is actually cooled way down. It has to be pretty cold. To
So
be,
that you can get it into liquid form.
Yeah,
So it can
super
be used
cool.
as a solvent. Yeah.
and that does that, so it, as far as, so is CO2 a little bit less harsh than steam distillation because of that?
You can typically distill more, like a wider variety of plant material because of the method that is used with CO2 extraction. You're not going to destroy the chemical components through CO2 extraction. And that's part of the reason you get some of the heavier constituents is because the constituents through steam distillation, they're too heavy. You just can't pick them up with steam. So that's why CO2 extraction, you get more of like the full plant extract through that method.
Is that why they smell stronger?
Yeah, or truer to the plant. Yep, you get more of those minor constituents that give it that fragrance.
Could roses be CO2 extracted?
I would assume so. I haven't ever come across a rose CO2, but we should certainly look into it. I haven't, like I said, I haven't come across it, but I don't see why not.
When we were down in Australia, looking at the Baronia farm, they were talking about Baronia and how that was CO2. They used a CO2 extraction for that. And I did not realize what it was. That was so cool to find that out.
Yes. I would really love to go. I want to go and see every kind of distillation happening, or extraction. I shouldn't say distillation, but every kind of extraction. I would love to have that opportunity. So it's on my bucket list to go out and be able to experience that, because it's an amazing experience to actually like connect with the plants that you're distilling and then using for therapeutics. Just the energy that is brought through with those kinds of products is just beautiful.
The show that we did, it was probably 2 years ago now, when Lori talked about when they went to
France.
France and Bulgaria,
Yeah.
and she actually talks about they went through a rose, I think it was Rose Absolute.
Yep.
And she came back with what did you call the bricks or whatever of
Oh, the concentrate.
the concentrate?
Or a concrete, I'm sorry.
Concrete. It was really cool. So, yeah, Robert's actually talked about bringing concretes in as a oil of the month if
Yeah.
that's something you guys would be interested
Yeah,
in.
let us know, because we've looked at some of these other products of the distillation or extraction process, and there would certainly be education around how to use it, but we've always avoided concrete specifically because they don't diffuse well, because they're concretes. But we could certainly look into it if you all are interested. So. Danielle is asking, how can you tell if something is dog safe? That is a really good, I say that a lot. You guys just have a lot of really good questions. Our process, one, we're going to look at the chemical profile of an essential oil, and if there's anything that would be cause for concern, we do not list that product as Pup and Pony approved. We just have to remember with pets, with animals in general, how much they rely on their sense of smell. And with dogs specifically, their sense of smell is so much more enhanced versus a human's. So that is one of the first things that we look at. We also look at like anecdotal evidence to see, are there any studies that show that this product has been used safely with pets? Is there any history that shows that it's helpful chemical. And that's a big part of it too. Like when we say that something is pup and pony approved, we're also saying that it's safe for use with animals, but it's also something that is beneficial for use with animals. So if there's something that isn't necessarily, there may be a safer option, something that does have the studies, the history alongside of the chemical profile, we will, choose that over something else. So over like a brand new oil of the month oil, for example, we will definitely choose to go with the safer option that has history associated with it.
Can you diffuse a non-pup safe oil if the pup is in another room?
Yeah, absolutely. With my house, I have a golden retriever and I have a cat, and it's very similar to like diffusing with cats, right? You can absolutely diffuse while your cat's in the other room. You just don't want to be diffusing right next to them, or if there's not a way for them to leave the room either. So that's a great option, is especially if you have like a split level home, I'll diffuse like in my main level, and while my kitty's like downstairs eating her food and snacking, those kinds of things. Let's see. All right, I think that might be it. Yeah, I don't think, Danny, are you seeing any other questions?
I think I'm not seeing any questions.
All right. Well, if you guys have more questions, feel free to email cs@planttherapy.com, and our awesome CS team will be more than happy to help you. And I'm also always on standby to help them out if they have any questions. So our question of the day is, what is your favorite steam distilled oil? And you will have the opportunity to win that oil. So very exciting there, and really hard. Like, how are you guys going to decide what your favorite steam distilled oil is? I don't know. I don't envy you. Alrighty, well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Definitely come back on Friday, where we'll be talking about planting kindness, one of my other favorite subjects. So definitely be sure to join us then, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Wednesday night. Thanks for coming. Bye.